Hi, I'm Andy Moore.
I'm Jeff Scholl.
We are covering a certain game tonight. You may have heard of it. Students have been camping out in Kville for months about it, and there's actually even been a mild controversy about it so far. UNC Chancellor Holden Thorpe, you may have remembered him from the football fiasco a few months ago, tweeted today that while UNC students were asking questions and fostering a discussion at a World Economic Forum, Duke fans were wasting time in tents. So already we've got smack talk, not even from the students, but from the highest levels. You know this game's a big deal. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to break down several key matchups to look for in this game. We're going to start first with Kendall Marshall, UNC's phenom freshman, and Tyler Thornton, who has really stepped up for Kyrie Irving in the last few months. Take it away, Jeff.
I'd say this is one of the biggest matchups, considering that both are freshmen and both right away have been thrust onto the big stage, probably the biggest you can face in college basketball here at Cameron. And we've got actually two former high school teammates, actually, who both, for 1 year in 8th grade, they actually played together, but then they went on to bigger and better pastures in the premier level of high school basketball in Washington, D.C. Tyler Thornton at Gonzaga High School, Kendall Marshall at Bishop O'Connell. Both playing against each other several times in the DC prep scene, and now they're here once again on the big stage. So I'm really interested to see how Kendall Marshall does with his distribution. He had 16 assists in his last game. We'll see if Thornton can slow him down at all. Thornton, on the other hand, brings a pretty good defensive presence to the backcourt along with Nolan Smith. So that's definitely going to be one of the things to watch for, who stays more composed, who's able to handle the pressure on this really big night.
Yeah, I think that matchup's also going to be really interesting because it represents complete different styles. Like, even though they played in the same area, which Jeff is actually from, by the way, they are just completely different players. Marshall prides himself on offense. Thornton is a defensive stopper. Another matchup I'd say to look for is a matchup of the centers, Tyler Zeller and Mason Plumlee. Tyler Zeller has really emerged as UNC's primary scoring option this year. He's averaging 14.4 points per game, 18.4 points per game, 52% from the floor, and he's got averaging 6.9 rebounds. He's going to be matched up with Mason Plumlee, who all during the year it seemed like he would kind of emerge as the third scoring option. In the last two games he had 16 points against NC State, 12 points against Maryland, and he really, every time they passed it down to the post, he looked like he could score any time. And Duke fans have waited for this for a long time. They've seen the athletic abilities he brings to the table. Maybe finally he's actually putting it forth. Another matchup to look for is Harrison Barnes and Kyle Singler.
Yeah, just a year ago there were HP 40 posters a lot kind of all over this campus trying to get Harrison Barnes to come to Duke, and lo and behold, he's actually here, but on the opposing team in Carolina blue. So I think fans are going to be loaded for bear to really get after him tonight. And he was named preseason All-American, and he wasn't really living up to that accolade throughout much of the season, but I think it's safe to say that he's back, and he's really coming into his own now, scoring in double figures over his last 7 games. Early last week, he posted 25 and 26 against NC State and BC, so, not super great teams, but he's definitely coming out and producing when he needs to for his team. And then we've got Kyle Singler, of course, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Clutch, always there when Duke needs a big shot. He didn't really do too much the last game against NC State, but they didn't need him to. And when they did need him to step up against Maryland, he was right there, 22 points, 10 of 15 from the field. You can't ask for much more than that. Shooting just a shade under 40% from three-point range throughout this season. So I would look for him to really be able to pick Duke up tonight when they need to lift. And we all know he's capable of going on his little mini runs where he can just knock down back-to-back threes, take it to the paint. He really can do it all. So it's going to be a great matchup against two really versatile players, and I'm really excited to see them go back and forth tonight.
Definitely, and it'll also be very interesting, as you said, to see what kind of reception Harrison Barnes gets tonight. Last night in his annual address to students, Coach K said to kind of go easy on Harrison. He said to not make one player bigger than the entire game. Whether that advice is heeded at all remains to be seen. Speaking of Coach K, this game kind of represents a watershed moment for him and Roy Williams. Roy Williams right now is 7-7 against Duke, and Coach K is 34-35. This will be the game that finally brings him to 500 with UNC, which he was well below that during the Dean Smith era. So another sign that he's been around for a very long time, and Roy Williams has had a lot of success against Duke. We actually have featured them on the cover today, pick it up now. And be sure to follow our live blog starting at 9 o'clock tonight at sports.chronicleblogs.com.
Check us out on Twitter as well at Chronicle Sports.
That's right. All right. Thank you.